Well, hello, welcome to Rockland Sound. I would be Mike, your one host here, and over there would be
You're two hosts here.
the second host. Our guest, who we're very thankful to share his time with us, is Todd Howarth, a veteran of playing with Cheap Trick, Ted Nugent, at Frehley's Comet, 4x Fate, Return of the Comet, and his own work that he's busy making more music for us. Welcome to the Rockland Sound.
Well, thank you for having me, Mike and Tom. I appreciate that. Yeah, this can be fun because, it's I always start to remember stuff when I start talking about stuff I've done for the last 40 years.
Yeah, that's good. So we jarred you, or I jarred you.
It's good for the book, the autobiography, which I'm writing as we speak.
There you go. And that should be interesting considering some of the characters you've played with.
Oh, yeah, and beyond.
All right. So where we begin? You're in your studio.
Yeah, I'm in my, I built a little 200 square foot studio. The short story was I have upstairs on the business real estate that my family has. I built a 1,200 foot recording studio of where I lived after Frehley's Comet had fallen apart back for me, in '88. Started working on that. But I built a smaller one because my son had moved back down from LA and he's utilizing it now. And so I built the smaller one so I could do some singing and pre-production for shows. And it's actually just big enough so I can fit all my recording stuff in here and just me. And I'm like a one-man band doing everything.
Now, just to ask real quick, your son is a musician as well, or?
No, my son is actually, he's an artist and he's actually got his own web design company that he's about to launch. He's working for another company here in San Diego and he's phenomenal. I mean, I do arts and illustrations and I paint with acrylics and I've been in advanced art classes since I was in junior high school.
Oh, wow.
But he is just far beyond me. He's just phenomenal. So he's applied that. He right out of high school, he went work for a printing company for about 11 years. And then I'd always told all the kids, if you want to come down and live in my big recording studio and go to school, you can. Mm-hmm. That'll help you out with the cost. So he came down here and got his bachelor's and
Nice.
And just went right at it, and he's just phenomenal. So yeah, he doesn't do music. My youngest daughter sings, but she's got terrible stage fright and didn't even want me to look at her when I had her sing a couple of things on my solo stuff. She goes, "Don't look at me, don't look at me." I'm okay, well, look at you. She's only 15, but she can sing really, really well. She can catch all my cadence and phrasings. It's pretty amazing.
When I met my wife, Miss Popcorn,
Of course.
I was eating popcorn in the background before Tom noticed. I inherited 5 stepkids from 8 to 18.
Wow.
So, and I had a son myself. He's obviously the pain in the butt one. He's joined in the musician thing. They're all grown and on their own, but my daughters all have some sort of showbiz in them, in the talent shows and doing that stuff.
That'd be fun. Yeah, so you're the Brady Bunch is what you were.
Yeah, 3 boys, 3 girls.
Oh man. Yeah, my oldest daughter, she did some art, but she never did any singing. But it's always kind of strange you expect your kids to do something similar that you would do, but I never really, pushed them into it. So you do what you want to do, what's in your heart,
That's good. I mean, they're gonna go that way anyway. And
right.
I think if you steer them with the encouragement, the 2 things they need is that, they need that sort of structure. So they need to know where the guardrails are.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you bounce off them a couple times, all right, fine. But
Yep.
then you need that, they're going to go and follow their path. My son's a stubborn one, didn't want to do anything in school. Now he's working and, he's getting into his 20s and he's got like, oh, this isn't just me being because he was relying on me.
Yeah. Yeah. The light or the dimmer, the light comes on quickly as the dimmer is accelerated over the years. Like, wait a minute, I better get something happening here. Otherwise, I'm going to be 35 years old living in my parents' basement,
Yeah.
wearing all black.
So
Doing an Antifa meeting, you mean?
now you mentioned your autobiography is coming out. Tell us a little bit about it. So it must be a heck of a writing process to go back for, a few decades and just kind of draw out all of those interesting stories that you had on the road.
Oh,
Probably a lot
yeah.
of video sessions, a lot of different bands, a lot of different personalities.
Yeah, the way I've structured it, I think will be a very interesting read. It's all about musical me. It doesn't. I mean, it involves very little of my personal life, really, unless it interacts with the music. But it starts my cover bands when I was younger, and what I listened to was influenced and that type of thing. When I was 7 years old, 6 years old, listening to the
Can I
Beatles.
interrupt you for 1 second while you're going? Because he's phrased this question in a really good way, but I had a question coming, and I think it would be good to tag on.
Okay.
So, what influenced you? And what is like the first album that you bought with, say, your own money, where you invested in it on your own? And then,
Oh,
go
well,
for it.
my biggest influences initially were the Beatles, of course, because at the time I was living with my aunt and my uncle, and my older cousin came home from school or wherever the hell she was one day in 1964. Says, they're going to be on TV. They're going to be on Ed Sullivan tonight. And I'm like, who's going to be on it? Who's Ed Sullivan? What's all the hubbub? And it was the Beatles. And I sat there and I watched. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want. All those. I was just screaming for the guys. Yeah, I can't wait to grow my hair. And I just thought that was phenomenal. And I had artistic talent, so I started drawing the Beatles. I draw the stage and
Oh, that's cool.
all, the Beatle boots. So I loved drawing the Beatle boots and the Beatles. And before that, my dad had listened to big band type music, of the 50s and late 50s, and he had a reel-to-reel in his Cadillac in the back seat, because he's
Wow.
real high tech. And I used to look at that thing and go, what is that? But all this, and I used to listen to orchestrations. So that's where I could hear all the ascending and descending bass lines and cellos and whatever. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool because they all mix and match and work. And that's how I can do orchestrations today, because I've always heard that anyhow. Getting back to what my first records that I bought, first records I had were the Beatles records.
Right.
And then I think one of the first records I bought as a teenager probably was Mark Bolan, T-Rex.
There you go. That's a great album.
And I was like, yeah, I have arrived.
How about you, real quick, Tom? What's the first album you bought?
Oh, that had to be a Metallica, Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Jerome DeSantis walked up to me in 8th grade. He goes, Osa, have you heard of Metallica? I'm like, yeah. He goes, cool. And then he walked away. I was like, oh, shit. Now I got to find out who Metallica is.
That's
Peer pressure.
mine was Queen the Game.
All right.
Paid my lunch money for like a couple weeks or a week and a half or something, and snuck off to the mall. And
This comparison here sounds like, what was your first influences? Oh, caveman on a log beating it with a stick and a bone. That would be me, You guys are like, oh, we like
you can see the generational thing though between all three of us.
I mean, bottom line, the Beatles influenced everything.
That's everything.
Yeah. They did.
Foundation,
Yeah, and I get re-influenced like seemingly every decade, because there's people think because the bands I played with, that's who I love. Well, not necessarily true, because the bands I play with is business,
Exactly.
and some I'm more acclimated to playing with and have a style with, and others just business, but my influences, like even after the Comet, I learned new bands that I like. They're younger than I am. Like, man, and my fans didn't really care for it. I got really into Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and STP. It's still my favorite bands. And then later on, there are other Chevelle comes out and Korn, and now they got new bands out there. And I love anything that has heavy melody, heavy ballsy stuff, and new melody and just energy. It's like, oh, this is great. I'll listen to it and I'll learn even more. I'm not like, no, I only wrote this kind of songs and Fraley's Comet, and I'm going to stay that way because, well, that combination has worked so well for me after the year and a half I was with Fraley's Comet. It's just, it's not slamming the audience, the fans, thank God they're there. But I continue to grow and continue to listen.
Yeah.
until this ear is ringing so much that I gotta quit. You know, it's
Well,
not good right
I'm
now.
actually one of those ones that was, and always will be a fan of the comment. But I
Thank
saw you guys at the Beacon Theater.
Yes.
And you had Y&T in the middle slot and White Lion in the opening.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an amazing show.
Yeah, Y&T is a smoking band. White Lion, a very good band. You know, I was really good friends with all of them. Least of all Mike Tramp. That's a different story. I mean, it wasn't nothing that we had. You know, there was no deal there. But Vito Bratta and I got along real well, but we had fun with that show. You know, we really did. What I remember. You know,
And the funny thing about White Lion is they were local. I mean, except for obviously Mike Tramp was from another country, came over here, I guess.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was put together or natural. But there was a kid in my high school, and he was just hawking their first tape to survive out of his locker, and his locker was filled with their cassettes.
Oh no!
So I had bought the first one, and I think the show that you guys did, it was right before they had the hit with Wait. I don't even think the album was out yet.
Wow.
It might have been just like that song hit the radio.
Yeah, cool.
But I was like, I'm right next to Ace, because I got into Kiss with Animalize with Heaven's on Fire. So I had to go back and learn, you know, from where I was.
Right.
So,
Well, sometimes that's fun.
Yeah,
Go backwards.
that was great.
How did you get into Frehley's Comet?
When I was touring with Cheap Trick in 85 and 86, we were on tour with, we did co-headlining with John Waite when John Waite was doing I Ain't Missing You at All, that tour, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always loved John Waite, a big Babies fan as well. And then I would listen to the band do their sound checks. And sometimes John Waite was there, usually he wasn't. And the band was Frankie LaRocca and John Regan on bass, and Arthur Stead on keyboards, and I forget the guitar player's name, great redhead guitar player, phenomenal. But the way that I love bass and drums, that's why I like playing bass and drums. It's just fun with a solid background. But John Regan and Frankie LaRocca were just put in the pocket like, God, this sounds great. So after one of the sound checks, you know, I'm standing in the arena, wherever the hell we were, and I walk up to John and say, hey, John, I'm Todd Howard. Yeah, I play keyboards for Cheap Trick. He goes, yeah, I see you up there. You're singing your ass off. I said, you guys sound phenomenal. I said, oh, thank you. You know, so we got to talking, and you know, he's inquisitive about what I do, and because we never met. I said, yeah, well, actually, I'm more of a guitar player now than I am a keyboard player, but I play keys for Cheap Trick and sing all the high harmonies and double with Robin when he needs it. And I'm a songwriter, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. He said, really? So that's very interesting. I'd like to hear some of your stuff. He says, I'm working on a project right now. I really can't tell you what it is, but we're working on a project, and you might work out for us. So
he had played with Peter Frampton, right? So.
Oh yeah, he was with Frampton for over 35 years, I think, on and off. And I had found out more about John as time went on, but I think about 3 or 4 months later after that tour, we kept in touch, and he called me up and said, hey, you ought to come out and audition for this band I'm with. I can tell you now who it is. It's Ace Frehley from Kiss, and he's got a side band, and we had 5 guys in it, but now we're just going to go down to 4, and we need somebody who can sing, write songs, play keyboards and guitar, and you're the guy that, you know, I thought about. I said, oh, fantastic. So I flew out to audition on the way to a tour leg with Cheap Trick to New York, and then from there, wherever I went, wherever America, and did the audition. And, you know, I walked in, it was Anton, me, John, and Ace. And, you know, we played some stuff, and, you know, and Ace was nice. He's cordial. He wasn't overly impressed with me because I think he wanted more of a lead player. So I can play lead. I don't care to. I'm not a lead hog. I mean, everything I play is melody, and I can play fast and all, but I just don't aspire to. So I don't give a shit. I'm a songwriter. I'm a singer, and so so he's like, okay. So John said, look, this is the guy that we really need. So I had to do it a second time. Second time, he came back and whipped out a couple more things and had a couple songs. And okay, well, maybe this will work. So that's how I got into be with
Curly. I got him I met him at a club called Mothers in Wayne, and I see them, and there was like in New Jersey, and there was maybe 400 people in the club, right? But
Wow.
it was a packed club. And then the next year, I see him 4 nights straight at Madison Square Garden with Kiss.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I met him that night and after, and it was Curly, and I had this hologram yin yang on, and he's like, "I want that, Curly. Give me a buck of picks." So I gave him the yin yang because I had like 4 of them.
That sounds like he was a great guy. I mean, when we got together and met him and I got to know him, and then I started hanging out with him in the at his place in New York, just to go over songs and ideas and things, and actually, we had a good time together, and he was driven and he was focused, and I had nothing really bad to say about him. Things kind of went a little bit south here and there after I left. I quit the band, in '88 after the Iron Maiden tour.
Yeah, that might have been a pretty cool show to watch, though.
It was a great show. We just ran out of money, and it was mismanaged, and just the floodgates opened up, and the dam broke, and holy crap! And so I thought I better hit while the hitting was good, because I had some sort of a name. And it's always very difficult to put a band together and then try to get out and get a record deal, of which I
was
did.
The Megaforce records back then.
Yeah, Megaforce distributed by Atlantic.
Atlantic, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, am I imposing if we hear something from Frehley's Comet?
From as far as what?
Well, are you capable of? Without having to make yourself go out of the way.
What do you mean? I mean, play live? Here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to put you on the spot if it's.
No. I am not putting me on the spot. I just hooked up with a microphone. I got to grab a guitar. Let's see. I'm not just. This could be. Let me mute this for a second while I make noise.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
How are you, Tom?
Mike, I'm continually impressed with your depth of knowledge.
Thank you. When you grow up and that's like it was sports, baseball, and music.
Yeah.
Two things I have endless hunger for.
That's amazing. I mean, the retention. My retention isn't worth a shit. Really, because I'm always creating. I mean, I wrote this one song in my sleep. Actually, I woke up and I went, I could, stagger in the living room at home, and the wife knows what I'm doing when I do that. And I come in, and I wrote the song, and I had it in my head. I had to get it down, otherwise, then if I go back to sleep, wake up, I have no fucking idea what I did there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, get back. I do. I'm singing right now. I'm working on this tune that's just really. Well, I'm kind of segueing in here to something that has nothing to do with what Frehley's Comet stuff. But when I first had this song in my head, "Time Ain't Running Out," I told John, I said, I want you to hit the A sharp, just before you go to the B in this. I said, what? I said, yeah, when click, 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 bah, bah. And he goes, oh, okay. So it's kind of fun. What's blowing my ears out? Just blowing my ears out.
Oh, because you got the earphones and earplugs in.
You got some pipes, man.
Thank you. I'm a real quiet talker, and then when I start singing, people go, Jesus, keep it down. Monday morning, the sun was out, you were lazy. The fight last night, it didn't set right, I was hazy. But you were cool, acting like nothing had happened. 'Cause time ain't running out. And before the last time, and time ain't running out. 'Cause I'm leaving. The thing with the stare, it just wasn't fair. You rubbed it in my face. I'm done with abuse, knowing you'll never admit it to me. Cause time ain't running out. Well, before the last time, and time ain't running out. Cause I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Oh, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Wow.
There goes the lead. But yeah,
That's great.
sorry I wasn't prepared for that. But and sometimes people think, I play songs all day long. I don't pick up a guitar. What is that chord? Oh, there it is. There's the lead part. Well, I played lead on that song. Then maybe someday, not far away, you'll remember this voice. Oh, maybe you won't, maybe you care, but you were given a choice. I was ever so close, but so far away. Do you remember? Do you remember? Could you remember? Remember? 'Cause time ain't running out. You heard me for the last time, and time ain't running out. 'Cause I'm leaving, and time ain't running out. You heard me for the last time, and time ain't running out. 'Cause I'm leaving, I'm leaving, I'm leaving. Oh.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Nice.
Thank you.
The same chills I did when I heard you do that back in the day. So
Oh, cool.
And-
That that always makes me feel good. I mean, that people ask me like, what do you like the best about being on stage? What makes you happy? I said, well, when I play my songs or our songs, whatever it is, and the people are having a blast hearing it. I think the best time I had a lot of good responses, but when we did the Hammersmith Oden show in London when we filmed the videos, and I whipped into Something Moved, and the crowd went out of their, and I was like, man, that is great. That is like, finally, I'm making people happy with my music, and it was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the thing I mean, to me, obviously, you have a very storied career and your autobiography is coming out soon. But just the idea of being able to connect with others, all business aside, that's, those moments are so important.
It really is. I mean, and I like to see people on stage or in the audience, they're smiling, happy, singing. And thank God sometimes they sing along because I forget what the hell I'm singing about. And they laugh when I make a mistake. And because I don't take myself that serious. I've always been a clown. I'm not, I'm an entertainer, but I'm more of a clown entertainer instead of, poser boy. I just don't do that. But there's so much stuff for the autobiography that I don't know when you want to talk about that, but I'm remembering stuff all the time. That's why it's taking so long to write the thing.
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions I have is about the area of Cheap Trick you got. Is that the Flame era?
Well, actually, I played with them before that in '85 and '86, and they had wanted me to audition me back when I was playing with 707, because when I first went to LA, I played with a local band. There was some of the guys were down here in San Diego, and that eventually fell apart. So I started auditioning for bands in LA, and I ended up playing with two guys up there in different bands, including they had Rudy Sarzo in it and the late Frankie Bonelli. But it was Pete Comita and John Brandt who would eventually go on to play with Cheap Trick, play bass for Cheap Trick. So that's how they got to know me.
And the Ted Nugent, was that actually in the Ted Nugent band, or is that on?
No, that Ted Nugent came later after, actually, no, it came before. See, when I played with 707, we were on a bunch of big tours, including with REO Speedwagon and Ted Nugent. Well, Ted liked 707 because he knew most of the guys were from Michigan, you know, and he was a Detroit Rock City guy, of course. And so he became friends with us, and then they kind of, he and his manager wanted to manage us, 707, when we had management problems.
Okay.
And when the band 707 finally fell apart, Ted got a hold of me and said, hey, you know, I'm doing a tour to support the Penetrator album that I sang backup on,
Yeah,
you know. And so I said, okay, yeah. And we started that in January of '84.
I got I knew that you had sang on the album. I saw that.
It wasn't, you know, it was like a lot of, I don't even remember. I mean, a lot of vocals, background vocals. I would have loved to have done more or more isolated, but, you know, they had Brian Howe and at the time, and most of Billy Squire's band doing all that backtracking there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So one other thing too, to skip ahead, because we went through the comments, so we're kind of jumping back and forth there.
Right.
When you did when the Kiss Cruise was going on, and you did the Vinny and makeup moment. So I have a question about that, but
No, you know, in all honesty, I didn't know that much about Vinny except for that he'd been in Kiss, and that at one time he was a phenomenal guitar player. I never listened to a lot of Kiss stuff from the aspect of who's the guitar hero. I knew that Ace Frehley was a phenomenal guitar player with his style in the band. And I never really followed him, so I didn't really know that much about him. So, but he was a celebrated part, and again, the most important thing is for the fans to enjoy it, and they did, and they loved him. He got a great following. So, as it turned out, I think he was going to be there, and then either he heard about us, or I'm not sure. He said, "Well, you know, I'd like to have 4 by Fate do, accompany me on stage and do some songs." And we're, oh, cool. Yeah, of course we'll do it. You know, I have no problem with that at all. I mean, I can, even though my voice is kind of taxed, I've still got a good range and I can sing that stuff that, you know, the Slaughter, was it Slaughter stuff or some of the stuff we did for,
the Vinnie Vincent Invasion stuff.
Yeah. And so
that's Robert Fleischman on the first album and Mark Slaughter on the second one.
Yeah. See, I don't even know that, you know, but the thing is, it turned out to be okay. I was just surprised at his preparedness level when he showed up, but he was very cordial. You know, I didn't really know what to expect, and you know, he looks differently now. Of course, he's a little heavier than he was when he was a skinny guy with Kiss. But yeah, I'm not gonna take that away from the guy. I mean, we all change, we age, and everybody's aging. I was surprised that he didn't play any lead, and come to find out that he said later that he just, out of respect for us, he let us play the lead and let Pat Gasparini do it. And I thought, well, that was nice, but you know, for the fans, he should have, you know, ripped it up there. We're not insecure musicians. We don't care. We got Rob Fuso on drums, John Regan on bass, Pat Gasparini, who's, you know, enormous talent himself, and you know, me, pretty good, I guess. And you know, it would have been great for him to rip it up, but it is what it was. And it was like being introduced to somebody you've never met before. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is something different.
Well, he's an amazing songwriter. He just, from what you learn through like history, as they call it, you know, he seems to be one of those ones that every time gets a step or two ahead, shoots himself in the foot. And, you know, they keep going, hey, all right, well, come on, let's see if we can try it again, and shoot yourself in the foot.
I don't know anything characteristics or his business prowess or anything like that at all. So I really couldn't comment. I will say we were backstage after that show, and he was waiting to get paid, and shouted out something to one of the guys there at the venue that was organized to get somebody over there, and it sounded just like Ace. Whatever he said, I don't remember what he said, but I thought, I tried, like, it sounds just like Ace, it's like, but I guess a little bit of that New York dialect, I guess, in there or something. But he was nice to me.
His last name is really Cusano, so he's got that New York
Cusano,
Cusano, yeah.
Fucking guy.
But he could write some songs. He definitely saved them. It brought the best out of him to get them back on track.
He wrote some songs that I really liked. I do have some Kiss songs. I can't really call them now. That when I do hear them, I go, I like that. That is really good. It's got a nice, But my influences from the time when Kiss became popular was, I was Van Halen at that point in time, 79, 70. I was going, oh, who are these guys? And they're just, yeah. Of course, when I started singing, it is not anything like that. I write really heavy stuff now I'm recording, and then I start singing, and all of a sudden, the Brontosaurus nuts that I thought were in there disappear completely because I'm just not that kind of singer.
You've held your own and made your mark, and trust just from me, and having been somebody that has followed your career without getting too sappy. I'm very honored to have the opportunity to speak with you. But
thank you.
Definitely that whole Kiss family thing, or whatever, anybody included in it, that's is considered like a sacred thing.
It really is. I mean, and I'm thankful for that. The way that I was never a Kiss fan. I learned quickly to become more of a fan of the Kiss fans. And then, I've known Gene since 1980, 81, I think I've known Gene. And I worked with Gene. Of course, I was signed to his label there for a while in 1990. But, and I respect the guy enormously, as I do the rest of the guys, because they all have their different things they do and what they bring to the band. But, the fans of Kiss are just amazing. If they like you, they stick you there for life, and I've got a lot of fans from many different bands. And there's a lot, some Kiss people and Ace people that fans that don't like me. I get that. I think it probably offended me more when I was in Fairless Commodore just after, kind of, like, why, what'd I do, but now it's like, hey, everybody likes a different thing. I get it, and if you don't like me, it's really easy. Just go turn me off, and go to something else. But Kiss fans are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it goes deep if you like them, and I'm not at my, well, I guess I'm maybe I'm not honest. You could ask my wife back there, maybe. I just went and saw him last year for the 40th time, so.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the hat, the hat. But
I can barely see it. It looks like, what did it say there?
The end of the road. There's just the logo.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
But,
very cool.
No, I even been watching in just knowing you a bit on Facebook and chatting back and forth in the comments and stuff that we talk about, and the group of us out there, checking out your stuff on YouTube and everything else. So if you want to go into your book a bit and into the solo projects that you were speaking with me about, or, before, and start moving into now.
I'll tell Tom had asked the question about the book and how it was going to be structured.
Yep.
Or the basis of it. It's real simple. I mean, I thought about this, and it starts with my musical influences before I picked up an instrument, and then my stepmom was real influential, saying, "Hey, he's got talent," because she had a piano, and I used, before they got married, my dad and my stepmom, I used to come up there. Well, I was doing this with the piano, but I could sing and hit the notes, and I had perfect pitch. And my stepmom goes, "Well, he needs to take lessons because he's into this." My dad said, "I don't care. He's going to work is what he's going to do." So my stepmom said, "He's taking lessons." So she won. I got to take lessons, and but it goes through all my influences and my local bands, and then up into my first major recording band, which is 707. And then what I can remember at this point, and I'm still remembering stuff, and then it goes off into how much of a dive that was, and then what I had to do, and then went back into with Ted Nugent and what I did and all that stuff. And then the next dive, I mean, this is just up and down cycling. events. It goes all through. And then in between some of those things, I had local bands. When I was with a Cheap Trick, I had a local band. So I was really doing double duty. And so it threads through all the fun stuff and in sequence. And I had a discussion with some friends about the sex parts, which everybody likes the sex parts of the book. And I've got lots to tell, but I thought, why the hell would I want to do that? And then I had some girlfriends say, if you're writing the books, you gotta tell the sex stuff because they want to read that kind of stuff. So what my idea for that, I'll probably touch on a couple of things, but it'll be an asterisk in the story in the book that pushes all those whatever I put in there at the back of the book, so you don't have to struggle through that. And it's nothing weird or kinky. It's just because I do short stories as a hobby. So in writing the book, I'll push all that stuff to the backside. And if you want to read all about the three women one time, that kind of stuff, you can have a lot of fun.
I have an interesting humorous way of, maybe at least it's funny to me because I'm laughing in my head, of asking a question that happens to go with.
And I'm going right to the
end. 707 and the women thing. Back in the day with the 707 and stuff, and the women, I guess. Any interesting stories on who you opened for?
For 707?
In any way?
Oh, there's, you mean it's just the bands you're talking about?
Well, I was just being funny between.
Oh, well, it kept coming out because when Tom goes to talk, it cancels you out. That's the only bad thing about Zoom.
That's because I missed last week, so I'm like filling in my energy. I missed like part of last week.
There are so many stories. I mean, I'd have to really think about all the bands. We played with 707, REO Speedwagon, Scorpions, Rainbow, John Cougar Mellencamp.
Hi, good.
38 Special. I even think we Ozzy Osbourne, when Brad Gillis was playing guitar for him, and that was way back when, because Brad had been playing with Night Ranger, and then he quit Night Ranger to play with them, and Night Ranger was doing, it was a great band and doing real well. And I'd have to really think about all the bands I've in that band alone opened up for, including Judas Priest. And then we opened up for Judas Priest with Nugent, and then it's just wild. And then Iron Maiden was for I'd have to do research on that.
And that's a spectrum of people.
Yeah. What's that, Tom?
That's a spectrum of people all the way from Mellencamp to Maiden.
Oh yeah.
But I'll let Tom talk because I'm jumping in too much.
It's okay. It's Zoom. What are we gonna do? But all of those individual, so many different stories from over the years, and I am headed to the end of that book to read about those adventures you just mentioned, Todd. But
you will like it. You most likely will like it.
But and the stories with the bands too. So how do you catalog that? I mean, I can't even imagine being able to take all those experiences and organize them in a way that. Yeah. It's like, so how are you planning that out thus far?
Well, some of the sequential events will probably be out of sequence because I don't remember the time frames.
Yeah.
I am nowhere near an eidetic memory. Some things relate to girlfriends' status because that really establishes years for me. But then when you're on tour, and then I was married for a short period of time during that as well. It will thread the best that I can remember, and there may be some things that have happened before another story, but to the reader they won't know any difference because it's all that time frame. And it's like remembering when I was playing with Cheap Trick, and I started the lighting director, who's a really good friend of mine, or a good friend of mine now. Again, he had a girlfriend, and she took a liking to me, and as it was, we almost got married. And so the director was irritated with me, as he, rightly. And so every time Rick Nielsen would introduce me on stage, and Todd and I was on keyboards, the light would just come on, or go on, like, fucker, And so it's a funny thing now, but it was like, oh man, but there's and that was and again, that slips into a timepiece like where then I broke my hand, or fractured my hand skiing in a ski jump, and I had to go back out and play with Cheap Trick with a swollen hand, and I did that with a lot of vodka. And then it was 707. There was time when I had all the big keyboards. I had 6 keyboards, 3 on each side, and the guitar hanging off. And I got tendonitis in this hand when I was stretching out. And every time I'd stretch over to do organ parts versus the grand piano, it was just excruciating pain. I was only 23 years old, but I've been very physical as I am today. I mean, I did a bunch of work today, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of. I'm actually lucky. I don't have any major problems. A little bit of maybe some, I don't know, arthritis, who knows, but getting back to the book, it is going to take me a while to assemble it. And I started writing on this very laptop that I'm doing the Zoom on. It's all stored on 3 different drives. I started writing it on a way to a Hawaiian vacation 2 years ago. And I wrote the opening thing, and I let my wife read it, Valerie. I said, "Here, read this." And she goes, "Wow, that's pretty good, So, well, yeah, of course it's pretty good. So, there's some really good parts to it, but I want to make, and I'm anal about, I have to reread everything I do. So that's like, it's kind of like recording something, but it's not a 3.5 minute, 4-minute song. This is like, oh my God, I got to read. And I don't remember when I wrote how does this work? And there was a time when I was recording in the record plant with 707. I walked into the kitchen area because I wanted to make a drink or a meal or something like that. And this little pudgy guy sitting there, and he's on the table reading something. I said, "Hi, what's going on?" And we're talking about some shit. I don't even know what the hell we talked about. Turns out it was Van Morrison.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. I mean, pudgy guy. I don't know. I mean, it's just what it looked like to me. But it's so much to read, and I will embellish the best that I can remember, because that's how good books are written anyhow.
And are you shooting at any particular time to have it out?
When it's finished, I'm hoping next year. I really got to put the hammer down. I was going to do a lot of that this year. I've got to get more on it, and I told the band actually Return of the Comet that I am really going to, since things are slowed down, I'm not going to do any more shows, and I'm really going to concentrate on this book. Well, then the pandemic hit, and that didn't really affect me because I worked by myself anyhow. But I have not been able to put in enough time because of other things that come into play. I mean, I handle a lot of things in the family, and then I'm sorry, what? Yeah, and it is. My parents are, my mom and dad 84 and 88, and my real mom's 82, and she's in assisted living in another state. And she's doing real well, but I balance that, and I balance, we have a lot of toys. We bought toys before we bought our house, or a condo actually. So we've got 4 Harleys, a boat, 3 cars, 40-foot diesel pusher, a motorhome. And so I'm constantly fixing everything that breaks down to the best of my ability, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Until, it just, time, it flies,
Yeah, it does. And Mike told me that you also, in your free time, when you have your free time, you're a printer, you fix a lot of your own stuff.
Yeah, I learned how to do wiring. Actually, the guy that I bought my red Harley from is a retired electrician, and he's a great friend and a veteran. And he taught me a lot of stuff that I need to know about wiring. I wired up the studio we're sitting in now. This is an isolated building inside of a building that I built with about 6-inch walls. I built it, the whole thing, the carpentry, the plumbing. There's no plumbing in here, but I did plumbing at my other studio. I learned everything I need to know that was necessary. So get back to the Renaissance man. I've been called that. A few ex-girlfriends have called me that, and I never really understood what that was. And then I guess I am, because I can do anything, and some of it very well. Other things, so. It's like, I fancy myself as a drummer, but I'm just that much from being fucking fired every day when I play tracks, but then I have to rehire myself the next day because there's nobody else around. So it's me,
You virtually use Tom.
Tom, you're a drummer?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, cool. How long you been playing?
I started late. I was 26. It was I left my mom's house and I was hanging out in my friend's basement, and he has a drum set down there, and I just jammed out. So I've been playing for the last almost 20 years now.
Oh, cool.
Local stuff. We do like a lot of gigs. I'm in 2 bands. I'm not quitting my day job, but my day job is web development. Like you mentioned, your son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Development, but yeah, I'm very passionate about the music scene and have a good friends network, so it's kind of cool.
Well, just curious. Go ahead.
Well, Mike and I were in a band.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, Scarshine. So we were in a metal band. My big thing was metal back in the day.
Metal.
Yeah, totally. So actually, funny story. We were at this this club called what was it, Mike? The place where I almost died.
The Access Lounge. Well, we both did almost that same day.
Yeah. No. It was Dingbats. I think it was Dingbats.
Oh, when you fell off the back with no, you thought there was a wall there? Is that what you mean?
Dingbats.
That was Dingbats.
And was like the worst for my health.
Yeah, my band wasn't good for his health.
I got up, right, after the set, right, and I went to lean back on what I thought was a wall. It wasn't a wall. It was a curtain. And the curtain behind it, there was a 6-foot drop. So I almost landed on my head. Thank goodness there was a tom-tom drum there, and I was okay, but it was, it was nuts.
Yeah, the musicians that came on after stored their gear there, so he landed on their gear.
Landed on their gear. Yeah, break your fall with a rim.
And Todd, you mentioned about you said a small segment about veterans. So from what I understand, you do charity events for Stand Down for Veterans. Yeah.
Yeah, I have done that in the past, and I do it whenever I get a chance, which hasn't been lately. But the wife and I, we volunteer for the Christmas wreaths for the grave sites. We do that here in Fort Rosecrans. I want to do more. I actually wrote a song that was on the 4 x Fate record called Amber Waves, and I was hoping that would hit some popularity where I start to make some money with it, good money, of which I wanted to donate to veterans. It never picked up, unfortunately, but it's still out there. Certain parties still have the song, and they've been okay to use it, whether they do or not. But I would like to do more. Yeah, I'm very patriotic for the people that have given their lives, not only the physical life, but their lifetimes to serve this country, serve the people of the country. And the sacrifices are just amazing. I never, the draft ended, I think in 74, 75, and I graduated 76. So I was horrified about it then. But I didn't really have a proper perspective of what, I mean, if there was a draft now, if I could go, I'm going, I'm in, I can do comedy, I can cook, whatever, but I would go in a heartbeat. But I really respect our armed forces, men and women, and the first responders that put their ass on the line every day.
Absolutely.
And I just, we wouldn't have I wouldn't have the freedom to do the stuff I get to do, let alone everybody else get to do what they want to do. So, I try to do as much as I can. Unfortunately, I haven't done enough, I believe.
No, I hear you. We do what we can, right? So totally. And it comes and goes, it's like the phases of our lives and everything.
Yes.
And as we wind down on the interview, so you have a new solo album. You can tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm doing three actually at the same time, and that's why it's taking so long. It's wearing me out. I'm doing another heavy rock CD. And I'm playing all the instruments. I have an electronic drum set here that I've dialed in to sound pretty damn good, as far as I'm concerned. It's not going to be multi-million-dollar recording, but it's pretty damn good. And it's heavy rock, melodic, very much me, with new influences, but it's still much me. It's a lot of people said it reminds them of kind of the Van Halen, Alice in Chains, Todd Howarth type feel because it's got a lot of nuts and there's some dark themes to some of the songs, some fun stuff as well. That's one. And then I'm doing another one that is more easy listening, adult contemporary, I guess, where I play acoustic guitars, piano, whatever I get my hands on, 12 string. I got 12 string bass. I've got 5 string bass. I've got everything I get my hands on, and it always comes up with a new type of genre. And I've got a bunch of stuff, basic tracks recorded for that. Then the third one, which won't be for sale, it's going to be a bonus giveaway with the other two, is going to be an acoustic, a real, far better than I just did now, but an acoustic of the Fraley's Comet songs that I sang or wrote. And it, there won't be a 15 song album CD, but just all acoustic, guitars, piano, and acoustic bass. Nothing really electric on that end of it. And I'm not, there probably won't even be a lot of drums, maybe some percussion, but not, real heavy drums, I don't think. I don't even know yet, but those 3 things I'm recording right now simultaneously and trying to write my book and doing my work, take care of the business real estate here, which is labor intensive.
Especially right now, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
Since I introduced us in the beginning, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Okay. So, and Todd, again, thank you for having us, giving us the time to be on the show. We're fledgling podcasters, so to have a person of your caliber on the show, it's a nice bump. So we appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I mean, the best luck with it, Tom. I appreciate that. Michael, I really appreciate it. And I never look, when people ask me to do something, an interview, I never look down, up. It's just, it's like how I view another musician. It's like, you're just a dude. You're just a person. You got lucky. You're talented. Whatever. I don't care. This is fun for me to do because you guys are honest. You have a chemistry and you enjoy what you do. I mean, how lucky are you to be able to do something you enjoy instead of going, fuck, I got to do this bullshit again. I mean, it's a good thing
in life.
Exactly.
For me, separately, obviously been an influence on me as a musician. So I have that for you. And obviously great memories of seeing you in concert, even when I was still growing as a musician and a person. And to see you play today and speak with you is a big honor for me. Hopefully we can have you back when the book comes out.
Oh yeah. I think Tom seems to be pretty interested in that back part of that book. So yeah. Of course. No, I definitely, just hit me up, remind me, because like I said, sometimes retention is not that good, but my willingness to get out there and join and share, I'm always willing to do that as soon as I get some time, which is not too often. That's the problem I have, is time. But thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing how this new mic sounded and when you get this thing done.
I think everything was pretty solid, and we'll get everything that we need to get people to take a look at you and check into your stuff and go from there.
Fantastic. And I'll push it as soon as you guys let me know.
Sounds great. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining Rockland Sound.
Yeah.
All right.
Todd,
thank you, Tom.
And thanks for tuning in to our second episode of Rockland Sound. I'm Tom Osa, and Mike, great job today. And look forward to having our next podcast in the coming weeks. If you go to www.rocklandsound.com, you'll catch our Facebook page, and remember to like us, and more interviews to come. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Bye, Bye, Tom.
Have a great night. Enjoy your movie and vodka.
Yes. Take care.